All right, let's dive into the hidden magic that keeps the modern internet running. We're talking about the secret sauce that lets the biggest platforms you use every single day handle mind boggling pressure without even flinching.
Have you ever really thought about this? I mean, you've seen it happen, right? A website for concert tickets just completely melts down the second they go on sale. But then you have a platform like Netflix where millions of us can hit play at the exact same moment, and it just works. What is the difference? Well, to understand this billion-dollar tech secret, we don't need to dive into complex code or algorithms. Nope. All we need to do is look at how food gets made. The answer, believe it or not, is in the kitchen. That's right, we're going to compare two totally different ways of running a kitchen, and in doing so, we're going to understand two fundamentally different ways of building a massive tech system. So on one side, picture a classic roadside dhaba, a small eatery where one person is doing it all. They're the waiter, the cashier, pretty much the whole shebang. And on the other side, you've got McDonald's, a machine built around a system where different teams have very specific, separate jobs. Let's see how this actually plays out. So first up, let's talk about our dhaba. This represents a really common, but also really fragile way of designing things. We call it the tightly coupled trap. In this system, the whole flow is linear, right? Our one waiter takes your order, then they go bring you the food, then they handle the payment. It works, for one or two customers. But what happens when 10 tables suddenly fill up at once? The whole thing grinds to a halt. He becomes the bottleneck. If he's busy with one thing, everybody else has to wait. And that is what's known as a tightly coupled system. Every single part is directly dependent on the other parts. It's fragile. One little point of failure can bring the entire operation just crashing down. But thankfully, there's a much, much more resilient way to do things. So let's head over to our second kitchen to see a stronger system in action, the loosely coupled way. Think about it. At McDonald's, when you place an order, it doesn't just go to one person. It goes into a system. Your order placement is an event, and that one single event triggers different independent teams to spring into action. The kitchen team sees the order and starts grilling the burger. The drinks team sees it and gets the soda. The cashier is already processing the payment. Each team is just doing its own job without having to wait for the others. This is what lets the whole restaurant handle a crazy, constant flow of customers. And this right here is a perfect illustration of a loosely coupled system. It's fast, because tasks are all happening at the same time. It's scalable. You can just add more cooks if the burger line gets long. And it doesn't slow down the cashier at all. And it's resilient. If one person at the fry station calls in sick, the whole restaurant doesn't just shut down. Okay, so we've got our kitchen analogy down. Now let's scale this up from burgers and fries to, well, billions of hours of streaming video. Let's talk about Netflix. That simple click on your remote or your phone, it feels like a single action, doesn't it? You press play, the video starts. But behind the curtain, oh man. That one click is exactly like the order going into the McDonald's system. It sets off a whole flurry of activity. Your play click is the event, and all these separate independent services are just sitting there listening for it. The analytics service instantly notes what you're watching to improve Netflix's data. The billing service might log your usage. The super powerful recommendation engine learns just a little bit more about what you like. And of course, your profile's continue watching section gets updated. Each one is a separate team just doing its own job. And here's the beautiful part. None of these services have to wait for the others. The recommendation engine doesn't care if the billing service is done yet. They all just react independently to the main event, which was you hitting play. There are no bottlenecks. It's the McDonald's kitchen, just on a global digital scale. So what is the official name for this incredibly powerful and scalable model? This system that powers not just Netflix, but so much of the modern web. It's called event-driven architecture, or EDA. And really, it is the absolute backbone of modern tech. At its core, it's a design philosophy where different parts of a system just communicate by producing and reacting to events. And that's what allows them to stay so responsive and agile, even when millions of things are all happening at once. So why does any of this matter to you? I mean, beyond just keeping your streaming service from crashing, this concept is fundamentally changing how everything is built. I think this quote from the source material just says it all. For anyone out there creating an app, a website, a business, any digital service that you hope will grow, this is the blueprint. It's the difference between building a system that's just destined to stall and one that is truly built to thrive.
So the next time you tap your credit card, or you order a rideshare, or even just like a photo, just take a second to think about it. You're not just performing one single action, you're creating an event. You're setting off a chain reaction in a powerful, totally unseen system. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other events are running your digital world right this very second? Thanks for tuning in.